One day at Blue's house, Steve and Blue discovered something with a stethoscope and gave it to me, who heard Blue's heart beating and going hub-dub. Steve and Blue decided to see what else they can discover, and Blue discovered something herself and wanted to play Blue's Clues to figure it out. Steve saw and realized that Blue uses her paws to leave the paw print. As Steve listed a few things on what Blue does with her paws, such as walking, running, and leaving clues, and even dancing, Steve danced a little bit, and the paw print danced away. As Steve went to get his notebook, Side Table Drawer was surprised and amazed about the stethoscope, and she held on to it and gave Steve the notebook. After singing how to play Blue's Clues, Blue ran around and around Steve, and he spun and spun as Blue went to the left. Then Steve discovered something else. He moved around a little very fast and put his hand on his chest and felt his heart beating, and I did the same. And Steve went to the left of the heartbeat for Blue's Clues and saw the first clue on a mouth. Steve drew it in the notebook, but didn't know what Blue discovered was just a mouth. Then Steve heard a voice and went to the computer, saw a computer Earl named Cursor, who was looking at different parts of the human body. Cursor went to the mouth, and the computer told her to look for taste buds, which help taste different types of food and drinks based on the flavors. I showed Steve and Cursor the taste buds of the tongue, so Cursor hooked on them, and a lemon squirted juice on the taste buds, and the mouth felt the sourness. She then went to the ear, and the computer told Cursor to look for the eardrum, which is a very thin piece of skin that vibrates and shakes when sounds come inside the ears. I showed Steve and Cursor the eardrum was right in the middle of the ear, so Cursor clicked on it and a sound hit it and the eardrum vibrated and shook. Cursor then decided to see something else, so she clicked on the eye, and the computer told her to look for the pupil, which gets small in the light and big in the dark. I then showed Steve and Cursor the pupil was in the center of the eye, and she clicked on it, and Cursor watched, and Steve did too, as the little circle, which the pupil got black, and a light turned on, and the pupil got small, and the light turned off, and the pupil got big. Steve left and went. Blue ran around and around Steve again, and he spun and spun again, but discovered something else. He put his hand in front of his nose and mouth. When he breathed, he felt the air of his breath. And I did the same. Steve then breathed for Blue's Clues and arrived in the kitchen and saw Mr. Salt, Mrs. Pepper, and Paprika struggling to lift a heavy bag of sugar. Steve helped. The sugar was heavy. He used his muscles and struggled to lift the bag up and onto the shelf. Mr. Salt, Mrs. Pepper, and Paprika were impressed with Steve being strong, and it turned out he had been working out and exercising. So he and Mr. Salt, Mrs. Pepper, and even Paprika showed off their muscles, and I did the same. And Steve learned that muscles help you move different parts of the human body. Steve saw the second clue dancing from the cabinet, wiggling and wiggling. This is the second clue. Steve drew it in the notebook. So far, the clues were mouth and a wiggle motion. Steve didn't know what Blue discovered with just 2 clues and needed more info. Then, when it was mail time, Mailbox arrived blinking, because when he blinks, it makes his eyes wet and clean, and it happens when everyone blinks, and gave Steve the letter. Blue and Steve could do it in a picture of a laboratory and saw a girl named Sarah Scientist, who built a special x-ray machine and needed to test it out. So she went in front of it, and Steve and I saw her heart, and Sarah Scientist then moved the levers differently and then revealed her heart was pumping blood in and out all over the body, and Steve did feel his heart. Then Sarah Scientist moved the levers again, and this time Steve and I saw her stomach. Then she ate an apple, and the liquid in the stomach broken down the pieces of apple into smaller pieces till it disappears, and it was part of the digestive system, so she can use the apple for energy. And Sarah Scientist moved the levers again, and now Steve and I saw she was breathing and saw her lungs, and the lungs are full of air and big when she breathes in, and the lungs are together when she breathes all the air, and her lungs got small. The x-ray machine was working, and Steve saw his bones and muscles and left as he saw the third clue on a tooth. Drew in his notebook and skidooed back to the thinking chair. The clues were a mouth, a wiggle motion, and a tooth. Steve figured that something your mouth could wiggle, and the tooth could, and it would wiggle because Blue discovered she had a loose tooth. Blue showed her loose tooth and wiggled it. Steve then remembered when he was with Cursor and saw the human body and that he and the computer could help. Steve and Blue went to the computer, and Cursor, Mr. Salt, Mrs. Pepper, Paprika, and Sarah Scientist arrived to look at the teeth. They were amazed about Blue's tooth, so Cursor clicked on the mouth again, only this time to the teeth. Sarah Scientist started to explain that teeth get loose and fall out to make room for big teeth. Blue had a loose baby tooth, and when it comes out, a big adult tooth would grow in. Before singing the so long song, Blue's tooth came out, and they went to side table drawer. Was amazed about Blue's tooth and gave a little blue box to put her tooth in it. She would put under her pillow to leave for the tooth fairy. Steve sung the so long song at last.